What's the best revenge western? A dish best served cold. That's what they say, right? Don't look the wrong way at a cowboy. You may live to regret it. Today we are taking a look at 10 of the most popular westerns that had elements of revenge in their telling. Please like, share and subscribe to get my new videos. High Plains Drifter. A mysterious unnamed stranger rides out of the desert into the isolated town of Lago in the Old West. 3 gunmen hired to protect the town taunt and threaten him. He kills all 3. When the attractive blonde townswoman, Callie Travers, flirtatiously insults him, he rapes her in the livery stable. That night, in his hotel room, the stranger dreams of Jim Duncan, a US Marshal, being whipped to death by outlaws Stacy Bridges and brothers Dan and Cole Carlin. As Lago's citizens watch in silence, sounds like some revenge is coming. High noon. In a small town in New Mexico Territory, Marshal Will Kane, newly married, prepares to retire. The happy couple will soon depart to raise a family and run a store in another town. However, word arrives that Frank Miller, a vicious outlaw whom Kane sent to prison, has been released and will arrive by the noon train, one day ahead of the new Marshal. Miller's gang, his young brother Ben, Jack Colby, and Jim Pierce, wait at the station. Kane's sense of duty and honour make him stay. Besides, he says Miller and his gang would hunt him down anyway. Amy gives Kane an ultimatum. She is leaving on the noon train, with or without him. I think we all know what happens next. Cat Ballou. Catherine, an aspiring schoolteacher, is returning home by train to Wolf City from finishing school. Arriving home at her father, Frankie Ballou's ranch, Catherine learns that the Wolf City Development Corporation is scheming to take his ranch. She hires legendary gunfighter Kid Shalane to help protect her father from gunslinger Tim Strawn, the tin-nosed hired killer who is threatening him. Strawn abruptly kills Frankie. Catherine becomes a revenge-seeking outlaw known as Cat Ballou. She and her gang take refuge in the Desperado hideout, Hole in the Wall. The stage is set for some payback.
Just a minute, don't you do that! Don't you get that gun away from her!
You won't make me cry. You'll never make me cry.
When was that? 10 or 12? My, oh my, how that booze will do your mind. Fog your mind so you can't remember a darn thing. Oh, it was just fine.
You and Strawn used to play together when you were children?
He was my brother.
Winchester 73. Lynn McAdam and Frankie Wilson are searching for Dutch Henry Brown, with whom Lynn has a personal score to settle. They find him in a saloon in Dodge City, Kansas, but cannot fight due to the presence of Sheriff Wyatt Earp. Lynn enters the town's centennial shooting contest for a prized Winchester 1873 rifle. Lynn wins and goes to his room at the boarding house to pack. There, Dutch ambushes him, steals the rifle, and rides away with 2 cohorts. It can't and won't end there.
What was I saying?
You were talking about yourself.
Where did I stop?
You didn't, but you can now.
Supposing I don't tell you. Then what?
Where is he? Where is he?
The Hateful Eight, at Minnie's haberdashery, tended by Bob, a Mexican who claims to be watching the haberdashery in Minnie's and her husband, Sweet Dave's, absence. The lodge shelters local hangman Oswald Mowbray, cowboy Joe Gage, and Confederate General Sanford Smithers, who is planning to erect a cenotaph for his missing son, Chester Charles. Suspicious, Ruth disarms all but Warren, while Mannix recognizes Smithers as a war hero. Warren wants him dead as revenge for ordering the execution of black prisoners of war at Baton Rouge. At dinner, Mannix surmises that the Lincoln letter is false. Warren responds to Ruth's disappointment by saying his forged letter buys him leeway with whites. There will soon be a slaughter of all in the lodge. The Bravados. Jim Douglas, Gregory Peck, is a rancher pursuing 4 outlaws he is convinced murdered his wife 6 months before. He rides into Rio Arriba, where these 4 men, Alfonso Peral, Lee Van Cleef, Bill Zachary, Stephen Boyd, Ed Taylor, Albert Salmi, and Luan, Henry Silver, are in jail awaiting execution for an unrelated murder. Sheriff Eloy Sanchez, Herbert Rudley, allows Douglas to see the men, while he waits to witness their execution. They escape, and the townspeople enlist Douglas's aid to recapture them.
Your wife and baby?
It'll be daybreak. But for these 4 men, it'll be the midnight of their lives. Your prayers will help them.
Chato's land. Half Apache Chato is abused in a bar by the sheriff. He shoots the sheriff dead in self-defense and rides out of town. Former Confederate captain Quincy Whitmore dons his uniform and gathers a posse. Chato, 1 step ahead, fires on the posse from a hilltop, drawing them into a difficult ascent, while he descends the other side and scatters their horses. The posse discovers his home. Elias, Earl, Paul, and Lansing brutally gang rape Chato's wife, and then tie her naked outside as bait to lead Chato into a trap. Chato devises a plan, creating a diversion, allowing him to rescue his wife. Chato's kinsman is wounded. The posse hangs him upside down and burns him alive. Whitmore, disgusted, shoots the burning man in the head. Chato takes care of business. Quigley Down Under. Matt Quigley, a sharpshooter, is recruited from America by a rancher in Australia to shoot Aborigines at distance. Taking exception to this, Quigley leaves. The rancher attempts to have him killed for refusing. Quigley escapes into the bush with a woman he rescued from the rancher's men. Helped by Aborigines, Quigley then returns, going on to destroy the rancher and his men.
Oh, by the way, you're fired.
7 men from now. Ex-sheriff Ben Stride hunts 7 men who held up a Wells Fargo office and murdered his wife. Tormented by the fact that his own failure to keep his job was the reason Stride's wife was working in the express office, he is in part responsible for her death. Stride meets a married couple heading west to California and helps them. They are joined by 2 ne'er-do-wellers, Cleet and Masters. Both know that Stride is after the express office robbers. They will let Stride lead them to the bandits, then take the loot for themselves. They aren't the only ones with a secret. The Man from Laramie. Will Lockhart delivers supplies to storekeeper Barbara Wagaman at Coronado, a small town in Apache country. Soon he's involved with Dave Wagaman, the vicious son of autocratic rancher Alec and cousin of Barbara. He stays around town, his presence a cause for changes in people's lives, looking for someone he doesn't know, that's been selling arms to the Apaches. If you want to see all my new videos as they come up, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Catch all my other videos by looking at my channel. The link is in the description. Leave me your comments. Check out my Facebook page as well. Like and share. I am Wrangler. Adios. See you again soon.
Interesting facts about famous people.